Hello children, this is Manish Yadav and today we are going to cover remaining portion of 7th chapter from the book of Snapshot, that is birth. As a Cronin has narrated this chapter. Uh, in the last video we covered till he decided to remain until everything was over. He decided to remain until everything was over. In this video, let you know the explanation of remaining paragraph. An hour later, he went upstairs again, noted the progress made, came down once more, set by the kitchen fire. The doctor went upstairs after an hour and noticed the progress and the condition of Suzanne, Zoe's wife, and again he comes down to sit by the kitchen fire. It was still, except for the rustle of a cinder in the grate and the slow tick-tock of the wall clock. The narrator describes about the sounds, how many sounds were coming to hear. It was still. It was still means there was not a single sound except rustle of cinder and tick-tock of wall clock. Only two sounds could be heard where the doctor was sitting in the kitchen. First sound was rustle of cinder. It means that area was belonging our coal industry. It was a coal industry. So only the rustle of cinder could be heard and slow tick-tock of the wall clock. No, there was another sound, and third sound was there. It was the beat of Morgan's footsteps as he paced in the street outside. Dr. Andrew Manson could heard third sound. It was the sound of Morgan's footsteps as he was moving outside in the street. Next, the old woman opposite to him sat in her black dress, quite motionless, her eyes strangely alive and wise, probing, never leaving his face. Another character, that is Mrs. Morgan's mom, old woman. She was sitting opposite next to Dr. Andrew Manson. She was wearing black dress, quite motionless. She was silent. She was not speaking a little bit. Her eyes strangely alive and wise. She was eagerly and cleverly waking up and worried about the condition of her own daughter, probing, never leaving his face. She looked as if she was not looking anywhere else except the doctor's face. She was constantly looking at the face of Andrew Manson. Next paragraph. His thoughts were heavy, muddled. The episode he had witnessed at Cardiff Station still obsessed him morbidly. Andrew Manson, he was thinking still about the episode, about the moment which he stayed along with his girlfriend Christine at Cardiff Station. He was there along with his girlfriend Christine he saw two men over there, and still those thoughts were coming to the mind of Andrew Manson. The episode he had witnessed at Cardiff station, still he was not coming out from the contemplations, bad thoughts of his own affair and his girlfriend. He thought of Bramwell, foolishly devoted to a woman who deceived him sordidly, of Edward Pace, bound to Stravis Blouden. Andrew Manson. Andrew Manson was thinking about Bramwell, whom he met saw at Cardiff station. Bramwell. Bramwell was a person who was foolishly devoted. He was dedicated to a woman, a lady, and lady deceived, cheated him badly. Sordidly, it means very badly. She cheated Bramwell because he could not understand the lady, and foolishly he was dedicated and devoted to the lady whom he loved, but the lady deceived, cheated Bramwell very badly. Next, of Edward Pace, the Dr. Andrew Manson thinks about next person. He is Edward Pace, bound to the service bloodline of Danny. His wife Danny, she was a service lady, means most of the time she quarrels with Edward Pace. As I told you about the Edward Pace is the senior doctor of Andrew Manson. Andrew Manson is working under him as a practitioner, as an assistant doctor. Living unhappily, Edward Pace could not stay alive happily along with his wife Danny, because he most of the time quarrels with him apart from his wife. And Edward Pace did not live along with his wife. He was living apart, away from his wife. His reasons told him that all these marriages were dismal failures. And after the conclusion, Andrew Manson thinks that all the marriages, all these types of marriages, these people, they are not happy with their marriage life. So these all are dismal flares, unsuccessful stories and marriages of these people. It was a conclusion which, in his present state, the doctor was thinking about the situations, about the lifestyle, and everything which was going on in the lives of two people, Bramwell and Dr. Edward Pace. He wished to consider marriage as an idyllic state. Yes, he could not otherwise consider it with the image of Christine before him. According to Andrew Manson, marriages, it was an idyllic state. It was very charming and just happy after getting married. People gets pleasure. So it was just an idyllic state for Andrew Manson. But after watching the conditions and the lifestyle of two people who got cheated and quarreled with the two ladies in their own life, Andrew Besides, these all are decimal failure, unsuccessful couples in the world. But he could not consider anything else with the image of Christine before him when he picturizes the face of his own girlfriend Christine before him. He could not think anything else except marriages and love affairs, her eyes shining towards him. When he sees into Christine's eyes, he feels a great love in her eyes, admitted no other conclusion, and he could not approach to the conclusion of love affairs and good relationships. Instead, marriages and those states in which two people were surviving. It was the conflict between his label, doubting mind, and his overflowing heart which left him resentful and confused. It was the conflict. It was just two different things between his label, doubting mind, and his overflowing heart. He was confused between his mind and his heart. What is better, what to do, and what is the conclusion which will be better to choose? He was confused between two options. Should he get married or should he leave Christine? Because whenever he was going through the life style of two people, Bramwell and Edward Pace, he was confused that he should not get married with Christine, because these marriages on the basis of his experience as he was observing from the lives of two people, Bramwell and Dr. Edward Pace, he could not realize that it is better to get married. But when he sees, when he gets the picture and when he picturizes about Christine, he could not choose another conclusion except marriages, because he fell in her love. Next line, he let his chin sink upon his chest, stretched out his legs, stared dreamingly into the fire. He let his chin sink upon his chest. He bent down by his chest and stretched, took out his legs, stared dreamingly into the fire. He was gazing into the fire attentively. He remained like this so long, and he was at ease, in the same position for a long time. His thoughts were so filled with Christine. He was thinking one and only about Christine, whom he loved a lot, that he started when the old woman opposite suddenly addressed him. He was addressed by old lady Mrs. Morgan's mom, as she was sitting opposite the doctor. He was being noticed by her, and suddenly he saw that doubting mind suddenly addressed him. Her meditation had pursued a different course. It seemed that Mrs. Morgan's mom was thinking something else by watching the face of the doctor and mentioned. He was confused and shocked. What is going on to Mrs. Morgan's mom? Next page. Susan said not to give her the chloroform if it would harm the baby. Susan, Joey's wife, who was a pregnant lady and was going to deliver a child, at that night. Her name is Suzanne. Suzanne said not to give her the chloroform. She denied, forbidden not to inject with chloroform because it may harm the baby. She is awful set upon this child. Dr. Batch, her old eyes warmed at a sudden thought. She added in a low tone, we all are, I fancy. When Suzanne said that I don't want to be injected with chloroform, it would harm the baby. She is awful set upon this child. She is very worried and just fond of the child. Doctor, her old eyes. And what about the Mrs. Morgan's mom? She was also more worried and fond of the child. She wants the child to be delivered in good condition and normal. We all are fancy, just we all are worried about the child. We fond and we love the child. So he collected himself with an effort. The doctor enthusiastically collected himself with an effort. He tried his best. It will not any harm, anesthetic, he said kindly. They will be all right. The doctor replied, this is only the anesthetic. Anesthetic means something which is injected to make a patient in unconscious state in which he could not notice something with the part of his body which is injected with the chloroform. So it is only to make unconscious, according to the doctor. He said kindly, and they would be all right. Okay, everything would be right. That's it for this video. Keep learning.